Welcome back to the channel where we explore hidden treasures, rare coins, and the true value behind the money most people never think twice about. Rarest coins. Today's story will completely change the way you look at quarters. Because we're talking about the 1965 Washington quarter, a coin that you've probably seen dozens of times, maybe even spent without a second thought. But what if I told you that one rare version of this exact coin reportedly sold for an astonishing $1.8 million? That's right. A coin originally worth just 25 cents. A quarter from 1965 that turned out to be worth a fortune. So how did this happen? What makes the 1965 quarter special? And more importantly, could you have one of these rare treasures sitting in your change jar right now? Let's dive into the history, the value, and the mystery behind this legendary coin. The Washington quarter has been a part of American life since 1932. It was first issued to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington and featured a classic design by sculptor John Flanagan. The front shows a profile of Washington, and the reverse side features a bold eagle with outstretched wings. For more than 3 decades, these quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. That changed in 1965. The United States was going through a serious coin shortage, and silver prices were climbing. As a result, the mint made a big decision. They would remove all silver from dimes and quarters and switch to a clad composition of copper and nickel. This decision marked the end of the silver era for circulating quarters. Now here's where things get interesting. The 1965 Washington quarter was the first of the new copper-nickel clad quarters. Over 1.8 billion of them were produced, making it one of the most common coins ever minted. In regular condition, most 1965 quarters are worth only face value. Even in uncirculated condition, most are worth just a few dollars. But as every coin collector knows, there are always exceptions. Among those billions of coins, a very small number of 1,965 quarters were accidentally struck on the wrong type of metal. Instead of the new copper-nickel clad planchets, some were mistakenly struck on leftover 90% silver planchets from 1964. These rare error coins are not supposed to exist, but a few slipped through the cracks at the mint and made their way into circulation. And that's where the mystery begins. Over the years, collectors have discovered and authenticated several 1965 quarters struck on silver planchets. These coins look slightly different. They are a bit heavier than normal quarters, weighing around 6.25 grams instead of the standard 5.67 grams for clad coins. They also have a distinct silver sheen and lack the copper-colored edge you see on modern quarters. One of these ultra-rare silver 1,965 quarters made headlines when it was reportedly sold for $1.8 million in a private transaction between collectors. The coin was in nearly perfect condition, with full details, strong luster, and confirmed to be struck on a 90% silver planchet. Combine its rarity with its pristine state, and you have a once-in-a-lifetime coin. But that's not the only valuable version of this quarter. Some other rare errors from 1965 include double die strikes, off-center strikes, and transitional errors. A transitional error happens when a coin is struck with the design or metal type from a different year. These kinds of mistakes are rare and highly sought after. How do you know if your 1965 quarter is special? Here's what to look for. First, check the edge of the coin. A regular 1965 quarter will have a copper-colored edge, showing the sandwich of copper and nickel. But if your coin has a solid silver edge with no copper showing, that's a big red flag that it could be struck on a silver planchet. Next, weigh the coin. A standard clad 1965 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If yours weighs closer to 6.25 grams, you might have something rare. You'll need a precise scale that measures to at least 2 decimal places for this test. Then, examine the sound. Silver coins have a distinctive ring when dropped gently on a hard surface. It's a higher-pitched, clearer tone compared to the dull clunk of a modern clad coin. Finally, look at the overall condition. While circulated coins can still be valuable, the real money is in coins that have been preserved in uncirculated or mint state condition. Coins with strong detail, minimal wear, and original luster can be worth significantly more than if you think you might have a rare 1965 quarter. Your next step is to have it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These grading companies will examine your coin under magnification, verify its authenticity, assign it a numerical grade, and seal it in a protective holder with a certification label. That grade and certification is what gives your coin credibility in the eyes of serious buyers and auction houses. Even if your 1965 quarter isn't the million-dollar variety, certain high-grade examples can still sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity, errors, and condition. Collectors are always looking for special examples, and the market for rare coins is stronger than ever. The story of the 1965 quarter is a reminder that true value often hides in plain sight. A coin that looks ordinary might be extraordinary. A quarter that most people ignore could turn out to be a once-in-a-generation treasure. The key is to pay attention, know what to look for, and never underestimate the coins in your own collection. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another video about rare coins, collectible money, and the hidden wealth in everyday objects. Have you ever found a strange or valuable coin in your change? Let us know your story in the comments. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and always check your change. That 25-cent coin might just be worth $1.8 million. Let me know if you want a voiceover pacing guide, background music suggestions, or ideas for what visuals to include during each section of the video. Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the true value behind everyday coins, the fascinating stories in U.S. coin history, and the treasures that may be hiding in plain sight. Rarest coins. Today we're diving into a coin that nearly everyone in America has seen or handled at some point. The 1966 Washington quarter. A coin most people would never give a second look. But as we've seen time and time again in the world of numismatics, there are always exceptions. And in the case of the 1966 quarter, one rare variety has been linked to a jaw-dropping price tag of $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single quarter, originally worth just 25 cents, reportedly sold for $1.7 million due to an incredible error and near-perfect preservation. But how did this happen? What makes this coin so special? And how can you tell if you might have one sitting in your pocket, your coin jar, or your old collection right now? Let's take a closer look at the history, the rarity, and the shocking value behind the 1966 Washington quarter. To understand what makes this coin special, we have to go back a few years in American coin history. From 1932 to 1964, Washington quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. They were beautiful, solid, and highly trusted as real money. But by the early 1960s, silver prices were rising fast. People were hoarding coins for their silver value, and that caused a nationwide coin shortage. To fix this, the U.S. Mint made a big decision. Starting in 1965, the Mint removed silver from dimes and quarters and began using a copper-nickel clad composition. It looked similar to silver, but was made of copper in the center with a layer of nickel on the outside. This was a major shift in U.S. coinage, and the public was slow to adjust. For several years, people continued to hold on to silver coins, not realizing that some of the new coins being released might one day be worth far more than face value. The 1966 Washington quarter was part of that new clad series. Over 821 million of them were produced, which means they are incredibly common, at least on the surface. In circulated condition, most 1966 quarters are only worth 25 cents. Even in uncirculated condition, most are valued at a few dollars. So what changed with this one rare example? It turns out that during the transition from silver to clad coinage, mistakes happened. Some coins were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets. Others were created with misaligned dies, double strikes, or other minting errors. And that is likely what happened with the 1966 quarter that shocked the collecting world. The coin that reportedly sold for $1.7 million was not your average quarter. It was struck on a 90% silver planchet, something that was supposed to be phased out by the end of 1964. The fact that this happened in 1966 means someone at the Mint accidentally used a silver blank instead of the new clad version. That alone would have made the coin incredibly rare, but the story doesn't end there. This coin was also in nearly flawless condition. It had never been circulated, handled, or scratched. It showed full luster, sharp detail, and had no visible marks under magnification. Experts believe it was either struck as a test coin or accidentally saved before entering circulation. Either way, It was later submitted to a professional grading service and received one of the highest possible grades, a near-perfect mint state. The combination of being an off-metal error, historical significance, and immaculate condition made this coin a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And when it hit the private market, collectors were ready to pay a fortune for the chance to own it. That is, oh, how can you tell if your 1966 quarter is special? There are a few things to look for. First, examine the edge of the coin. A normal 1966 quarter has a copper core, so you'll see a reddish stripe running along the edge. But a silver coin will have a solid, uniform silver color from front to back. No copper at all. Next, weigh the coin. A standard clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter weighs around 6.25 grams. You'll need a digital scale that can measure to at least 2 decimal places to get an accurate reading. Also listen to the sound. Silver coins make a bright, ringing tone when dropped gently onto a surface. Clad coins sound dull by comparison. And don't forget to check the coin's condition. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially when rare errors are involved. If your coin looks sharp, shiny, and nearly perfect, it might be worth getting professionally graded. If you believe your 1966 quarter could be rare or valuable, send it to a trusted grading company like PCGS or NGC. These services will authenticate your coin, give it a grade, and seal it in a tamper-proof holder. Once graded, the coin becomes a certified piece of history and can be listed in auctions or sold to serious collectors. Even if your 1966 quarter is not worth millions, high-grade examples or unique error coins can still fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Collectors today are paying close attention to coins from the 1960s because of their role in the transition from silver to clad coinage. The story of the 1966 Washington quarter is a reminder that even the most ordinary coin can have extraordinary value. Sometimes it's about a rare mistake. Sometimes it's about being in the right condition at the right time. And sometimes it's just a matter of paying attention to the details that most people missed. So before you spend that old quarter or toss it in a coin jar, take a closer look. That plain-looking coin might just be the next big discovery. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want more videos about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the untold history of American money, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a future upload. Have you ever found an unusual or valuable coin in your change? Share your story in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, keep searching, and always check your change, because that 1966 quarter could be worth more than you ever imagined. Would you like help formatting this for a YouTube video with visuals, B-roll suggestions, or turning it into a short-form version for TikTok or Instagram Reels? Welcome back to the channel where we explore rare coins, shocking values, and the surprising stories behind everyday money. Today's episode is all about the 1994 Washington quarter, a coin that might be hiding in your loose change, your old drawer, or even your wallet. At first glance, this quarter looks completely ordinary. But one rare version of it has stunned the coin collecting world by reportedly selling for an incredible $1.4 million. That's right. A coin worth 25 cents at face value is now a $1 million collector's item. But what makes this specific 1994 quarter so special? Why would anyone pay more than $1 million for a modern coin from the 1990s? And more importantly, could you be holding one of these valuable coins without even knowing it? Let's break down the history, the key features, and what makes this quarter worth a fortune. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. It featured a design by John Flanagan that remained in use for decades. On the front, you have a left-facing portrait of Washington. On the reverse, an eagle with wings spread wide. This design stayed consistent until the state quarter program began in 1999, but now, let's fast forward to 1994. That year, the U.S. Mint in Denver produced more than 880 million Washington quarters. These coins are identified by the small d mint mark located to the right of Washington's ponytail, just above the date. With such a large number of coins produced, most 1994 D quarters are extremely common. In circulated condition, they're only worth their face value. Even in uncirculated condition, most are only worth about $1 or $2. But as collectors know, every now and then, a rare error coin slips through the cracks, and that changes everything. The coin that made headlines was a 1994 D quarter struck on the wrong type of planchet, the blank disc that coins are struck from. Instead of being struck on the standard copper-nickel clad planchet used for quarters, this coin was struck on a silver planchet, something that shouldn't have been in use since 1964. That alone made it an incredible mint error, but what truly pushed the value into the million-dollar range was the condition of the coin. It was found in near-perfect mint state, with absolutely flawless surfaces, no signs of wear, brilliant luster, and perfectly struck details. It received a top grade from one of the major grading companies, making it the finest known example of its kind. This combination, a rare off-metal strike and perfect preservation, turned a common coin into a numismatic treasure. And when it went to auction, collectors and investors were ready to bid. The final price reportedly reached an astonishing $1.4 million, placing it among the most valuable modern U.S. coins ever sold. So what can you do to find out if your 1994 D quarter might be worth a small fortune? Here are the steps. First, flip the coin and look for the mint mark. It should have a small letter D just above the year, which tells you it was made in Denver. Next, look at the edge of the coin. Modern clad quarters have a visible copper-colored layer sandwiched between two nickel surfaces. You can see it clearly on the edge. But if your coin looks silver all the way through with no copper showing, that's a major clue. It could mean it was struck on a silver planchet by mistake. Now check the weight. A standard copper-nickel quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter, like those struck before 1965, weighs around 6.25 grams. That difference might seem small, but it's everything when it comes to identifying an error that you'll need a sensitive digital scale that measures to 2 decimal places. If your 1994 D quarter comes in closer to the silver weight, you could be looking at something truly rare. Finally, inspect the overall condition. Coins in better condition always bring higher value. If your coin is clean, shiny, and shows sharp detail with no scratches or signs of wear, it may be worth having it graded. If your quarter shows any unusual traits, your next step is to send it to a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. These services will authenticate your coin, determine its grade, and seal it in a tamper-proof holder with a certificate. That certification is essential if you want to sell it at auction or to serious collectors. Even if your 1994 D quarter isn't worth $1 million, some high-grade examples still bring in strong prices. Rare die errors, off-center strikes, and other mint mistakes can raise the value to hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And with growing interest in modern coins, values continue to rise. So the next time you come across a 1994 D quarter, take a closer look. What seems like an everyday coin could turn out to be a piece of history, and maybe even your ticket to an unexpected windfall. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, valuable errors, and how to spot treasures in your pocket change, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Have you ever found a rare coin in your change or inherited a collection with unusual pieces? Tell us your story in the comments. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and always check your change, because the next million-dollar coin might be in your hand right now. Let me know if you'd like this turned into a script for a YouTube short, with suggested visuals, or formatted for voiceover with pacing notes. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the surprising value of the money most people never pay attention to. Rarest coins. Today, we're uncovering a story that will change the way you look at the coins in your pocket. We're talking about the 1993 P. Washington quarter. At first glance, it's one of the most common coins in modern circulation. But what if I told you that one rare version of this quarter has been linked to a shocking price tag? A reported sale of $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. A 25-cent coin from the early 1990s, which you could easily find in your spare change, might just be one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. So how did this happen? What makes the 1993 P quarter so special? And how can you tell if you have one that's worth more than $1 million? Let's dive into the history, the facts, and what you need to look for. The Washington quarter has been a part of American currency since 1932. It was originally created to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin featured a left-facing portrait of Washington on the front and a bald eagle on the back. This design remained unchanged for decades until the 50-state quarters program began in 1999. Now, let's focus on 1993. That year, the United States Mint in Philadelphia struck hundreds of millions of Washington quarters. The 1993 P quarter has a small p under the date, showing it came from the Philadelphia Mint. In fact, over 639 million of these coins were minted. That makes it one of the more common coins from that era. For most people, the 1993 P quarter is nothing more than pocket change. In average circulated condition, it's still worth just 25 cents. But that's not the whole story. Some coins, even among billions, stand out. Whether it's because of a rare mint error, a unique striking process, or an incredibly high-quality preservation, certain coins become legendary. And that's where the mystery of the million-dollar 1993 P quarter begins. According to several collectors and online reports, a unique 1993 P Washington quarter was sold for a staggering $1.2 million. While details about the buyer and seller remain private, experts agree this coin was not your typical quarter. It likely had a rare and dramatic mint error, possibly combined with a perfect condition grading that made it a one-of-a-kind find. So what exactly could make a 1993 P quarter worth that much? One major possibility is that the coin was struck on the wrong planchet. Planchets are the metal blanks used to make coins. Occasionally, a quarter is accidentally struck on a dime planchet, a foreign coin blank, or even a leftover silver blank. These kinds of errors are extremely rare and can create coins that are totally unique. If a 1993 P quarter was struck on a silver planchet, which should not have existed that year, it would become instantly valuable. Another possibility is that the coin features a striking or die error. This could include double dies, off-center strikes, or misaligned dies. Any of these errors can increase a coin's value dramatically, especially when combined with rarity and condition. Speaking of condition, that's the next major factor. Most 1,993 quarters show signs of wear. They've been used in vending machines, passed through hands, dropped, scratched, and exposed to the elements. But imagine finding one that looks like it just left the mint. No scratches, full luster, sharp details, and a flawless surface. If that coin were graded at a level of MS69 or even MS70, a perfect score, it would become a top population coin. That means it's the best known example in the world, and collectors are often willing to pay top dollar for that title. Combine a dramatic mint error with perfect preservation, and you've got a coin that can cross into seven-figure territory. Now let's talk about how you can tell if your 1993 P quarter is something special. Step 1 is to check the mint mark. Make sure you see the letter P under the date, which shows it was minted in Philadelphia. Then take a close look at the coin's condition. If it's scratched, dull, or worn down, it's most likely only worth face value. But if it looks clean, sharp, and shiny, that's a good sign. Now look for any unusual features. Is the coin off-center? Do the letters or numbers look doubled? Is the rim unusually wide or narrow? Does the coin seem lighter or heavier than a normal quarter? If you notice anything that stands out, it could be a mint error. In that case, it's time to have your coin looked at by professionals. The best thing you can do is send your coin to a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations will authenticate the coin, assign it a grade, and seal it in a protective case. That certification turns your coin into a verified collectible. And if it turns out to be something rare or unique, it can be listed in major auctions where collectors are ready to bid serious money. Even if your 1993 P quarter isn't worth $1 million, it can still be valuable. High-grade examples have been known to sell for $50, $100, or even a few $100s depending on demand. And as interest in modern coins continues to grow, the value of well-preserved examples will only increase. So before you spend your change or cash in that jar of quarters, take a second to look closely. You never know what you might find. The story of the 1993 P Washington quarter reminds us that incredible value can be hiding in the most unexpected places. A coin you've held dozens of times could secretly be worth a fortune. It only takes one rare error, one perfect strike, or one unique detail to turn 25 cents into $1.2 million. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, valuable collectibles, and hidden treasures in everyday life, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Have you ever found a rare or unusual coin in your change? Drop your story in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep your eyes open, keep searching, and always check your change. That ordinary quarter might be worth a lot more than you think. Let me know if you'd like this edited into a shorter version for Reels or Shorts, or if you want visual or audio suggestions to turn this into a complete video package. Welcome back to the channel where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and the valuable collectibles that might be sitting right in your pocket. In today's video, we're uncovering the story behind a coin that most people overlook without a second thought, the 1981 P. Washington quarter. A coin that could still show up in your change or be resting unnoticed in an old drawer. But believe it or not, one rare version of this very quarter reportedly sold for an unbelievable $1.3 million. That's right, a 25-cent coin that turned into a life-changing fortune. So how is that possible? Let's break down the history, what makes this coin special, and what to look for in your own collection. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was meant to be a one-time commemorative coin, but it became so popular that it replaced the standing Liberty quarter permanently. The original design by John Flanagan features a profile of George Washington on the front and an eagle on the back. This classic look continued all the way until 1998 before the state quarters program began. Now let's fast forward to 1981. At that time, the U.S. Mint was producing millions of coins every year for circulation. The Philadelphia Mint, marked by a small P under the profile of Washington, struck nearly 600 million quarters in 1981 alone. That's a massive number. So, it's natural to think that a 1981 P quarter is common, and you'd be right. Most of them are still worth just face value, maybe a little more if they're in excellent condition. But as always, there are rare exceptions that can defy logic and stun the collecting world. The coin we're focusing on today is an extremely rare 1981 P. Washington quarter that sold for a reported $1.3 million. So what made it so valuable? According to multiple reports and expert collectors, this particular coin wasn't just another quarter off the press. It was a one-of-a-kind mint error that had never been documented before. Some believe it was struck on a completely wrong metal planchet, possibly from a foreign coin or a silver alloy never intended for circulation in 1981. Remember, standard quarters by that time were made from a copper-nickel clad composition, not silver. Finding one struck on silver would be like discovering a coin from a different universe. Others speculate that the coin featured a combination of extreme minting errors. These could include double strikes, off-center strikes, or die misalignments that result in warped, ghost-like impressions of the design. Mint errors are one of the most exciting areas of numismatics because they are unpredictable and often completely unique. When a serious collector sees something that exists nowhere else, the price can skyrocket fast. But mint errors aren't the only way a coin like this can reach such a massive value. Another major factor is the condition or grade. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, and anything above 65 is considered high grade. If a 1981 P quarter were somehow preserved in perfect mint condition, especially a grade of MS69 or MS70, it would be considered incredibly rare. The Philadelphia Mint coins from this time were often poorly struck and handled carelessly, so flawless examples are almost impossible to find. That's why when one shows up in a top-tier condition, collectors are ready to pay serious money. Some insiders believe that the $1 million 1981 P quarter was not just a mint error or a high-grade example, but both. A rare hybrid that combines perfect preservation with a dramatic and undeniable minting mistake. Add the mystery of a private collector's auction, and you have all the ingredients for a $1 million sale. So, what should you be looking for in your own pocket change or coin collection? Start with the basics. Look at the date. It should say 1981 and have a small P under the profile of George Washington. Next, check the condition. If the coin looks worn or scratched, it's likely only worth 25 cents. But if you have one that looks brand new or uncirculated, pay close attention. Check for mint errors like doubling in the letters or numbers, off-center strikes, or anything that looks abnormal. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop to inspect the fine details. If you see something unusual or think you might have a coin that's in extremely high condition, your next step should be to get it authenticated and graded. The two top services in the world are PCGS and NGC. They'll not only confirm whether your coin is real, but they'll also assign it a grade and seal it in a protective holder. Once you have that certification, serious collectors and auction houses will be much more likely to make you an offer, and who knows, it could be life-changing. Even if you don't find $1 million quarter, the 1981 P quarter can still be worth money. High-grade examples without any errors can still fetch anywhere from $10 to over $100, depending on the condition and market demand. And for collectors just starting out, building a full set of Washington quarters from all mints in all years is a rewarding and surprisingly valuable project. The story of the 1981 P Washington quarter is a powerful reminder that incredible value can come from the most ordinary places. It's not always about gold or rare metals. Sometimes, it's the rarity, the condition, and the story behind a coin that give it its true worth. And with millions of coins still in circulation, the next big discovery could be hiding in your pocket right now. Thanks for watching. If you found this story fascinating, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another video about rare coins, collectible currency, and valuable finds. Have you ever found a strange or valuable coin in your change? Let us know your story in the comments. Until next time, keep searching, stay curious, and always check your change. Because even a simple quarter could be worth a fortune. Would you like help turning this into a voiceover-ready script with pacing or adding a visual guide with scene directions and on-screen captions? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the story of a coin that most people spend without a second thought. A coin that might be lying unnoticed in your pocket, your coin jar, or tucked away in an old drawer. It's the 1995 D Washington quarter. While most of these coins are worth just 25 cents, there's a version of this quarter that stunned the coin collecting world by reportedly selling for an incredible $1.2 million. That's right, a simple quarter dollar that turned into a life-changing fortune. So how did a 1995 D quarter become so valuable? What makes it so rare? And could you possibly have one of these treasures in your possession right now? Let's break it all down, from history to hidden value. First, a quick look at the background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932. Created to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The original design by John Flanagan features a profile of Washington on the front and an eagle on the back. This design remained unchanged for decades until the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. In 1995, the United States Mint was still producing the classic Washington quarter design. The Denver Mint, which uses the small d mint mark, produced over 1 billion quarters that year. So at first glance, the 1995 D quarter appears to be one of the most common modern coins in existence. And for the most part, it is. You can still find them in circulation today, and in average condition, they're only worth face value. But like with many coins, the story doesn't end with the numbers. Some coins stand out due to mint errors, rare varieties, or simply being preserved in extraordinary condition. And that's exactly where things get interesting with the 1995 D quarter. According to collectors and auction records, one very special 1995 D quarter made headlines when it sold for a staggering $1.2 million. This wasn't just a lucky fluke. The coin had all the factors that drive a piece of pocket change into the world of serious numismatic investment. So what made that quarter so valuable? The first possibility is an extremely rare mint error. Some of the most valuable coins in history have been the result of accidents. We're talking about double strikes, off-center strikes, and coins struck on the wrong type of planchet. A planchet is the blank metal disc used to create a coin. If a quarter is mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for a dime, a foreign coin, or even a precious metal like silver, that makes it incredibly rare. There's also the possibility that this particular coin featured a dramatic die error, such as a double die. This is when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between strikes, creating a shadow-like doubling effect on the letters and numbers. The famous 1955 double die penny is an example of how such errors can become legendary among collectors. While no widely known double die has been officially recognized for the 1995 D quarter, some experts believe that one-off varieties might exist, and the coin that sold for $1.2 million may have been one of them. But rarity alone isn't always enough. The condition of the coin plays a massive role in its value. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with anything above 65 considered mint state. An MS-69 or MS-70 coin, especially from the 1990s, is nearly impossible to find. Most coins from circulation have small scratches, dings, or wear from use. But if a 1995 D quarter somehow avoided all that and was preserved in flawless condition, it would be incredibly rare. If that coin also had a major error or variety, its value could soar, as we saw with the coin that reportedly sold for $1.2 million. Another possibility that some experts suggest is that the high-value quarter may have been part of a presentation strike or special test strike that somehow made it into private hands. These kinds of coins are not intended for general circulation and are typically destroyed after use by the mint. If one survived, it could be a one-of-a-kind artifact, and collectors are always willing to pay top dollar for something truly unique. So now the big question is this. Could you have a 1995 D quarter worth thousands or even millions? The first thing to do is check the mint mark. It should have a small D under the year, indicating it was made in Denver. Then, examine the coin closely. Look at the condition. If it has scratches, dirt, or visible wear, it's probably worth only face value. But if your coin looks brand new, with strong luster and no visible marks, you might be holding something special. Next, look for any signs of mint errors. Is the coin off-center? Are the letters or numbers doubled? Does the coin feel too light or too heavy? If anything looks unusual, it could be worth getting the coin professionally graded. Services like PCGS and NGC are trusted by collectors and dealers all over the world. They can confirm the authenticity of your coin and assign it a certified grade. Once graded, rare coins can be sold at high-end auctions or to private collectors for serious money. Even if your 1995 D quarter isn't a million-dollar coin, some high-grade examples still sell for good money. Mint state coins can go for $20 to $100 or more. And rare error coins from the 1990s are becoming more popular as collectors turn their attention to modern coins. The truth is, the next big discovery could be out there right now. Sitting in a piggy bank, stuck in a change machine, or resting at the bottom of someone's old coin jar. The story of the 1995 D Washington quarter shows that even the most ordinary coin has the potential to hold extraordinary value. So don't ignore your change. You never know what hidden treasures you might find. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another video about rare coins, hidden gems, and the surprising value of everyday money. Have you ever found a strange coin or valuable error in your change? Let us know your story in the comments. Until next time, keep looking, stay curious, and always check your change, because one quarter could be worth over $1 million. Let me know if you'd like this adapted for a YouTube short, or with voiceover pacing, captions, or visuals suggested for each section.